Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into day 10 of the After the Hurt material. We're tackling something we all deal with on a regular basis, triggers. We're going to unpack exactly what they are and, more importantly, how this text shows us we can actually learn from them. Let's get right into it.
So the text gives us this really powerful core definition. A trigger is a present situation touching an old wound. Basically, what's happening to you today might not be the whole story. You know when a seemingly tiny thing happens but your reaction feels massive? Well, that's because it just touched a spot that was already super tender from something way in your past.
The material lists out some very common everyday scenarios that can set this off. Think about things like unreturned text messages that suddenly make you feel completely rejected, or maybe being corrected at work and feeling personally attacked. Even just hearing raised voices can make your whole body tense up. Simple, everyday disappointments can just unleash an absolute flood of past feelings. But here is the crucial takeaway from this source. The trigger isn't the real wound. Instead, think of it like a doorway. It's a doorway showing us exactly where that old wound is hiding out. And the goal here is absolutely not self-blame. It's about gaining the power to respond with wisdom, rather than just instinctively reacting from a place of pain.
Section 1. The Daily Action Plan. Identifying your top 3 triggers.
For this daily plan, the text lays out 4 really introspective questions you can ask yourself when you feel triggered. Step 1, what actually happened? Step 2, what did I feel in that moment? Step 3, what story did I tell myself? And finally, step 4, what old wound is this really about? These 4 questions are basically the keys to unlocking that doorway we just talked about.
All right, moving to section 2, the stories we tell. Separating the event from the emotion.
This part is totally eye-opening. There is a huge difference between an objective event and our internal story. Let's say someone forgets to call you back. That is the objective event, right? But the internal story we instantly invent in our heads is, I do not matter. Or a minor disagreement suddenly turns into, they're completely against me. It is honestly incredible how fast our brains can turn a totally neutral event into this heavy, painful narrative. To combat this, the text suggests something simple but powerful. Just pause and ask, what story am I telling myself right now? Asking that creates this much-needed breathing room, and in that little bit of space, wisdom and peace can actually enter. It helps you separate the actual truth of the situation from your old pain. To really ground this concept, the source material turns to a very famous verse, Proverbs 4:23. It states, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Now, the author makes a really important clarification here. Guarding your heart doesn't mean building up these massive, isolating walls around yourself. Not at all. It actually means watching over it with wisdom. It's about actively noticing what's flowing out of your pain, your fears, and your assumptions on a daily basis. To help with that, the text provides a sort of diagnostic checklist of questions for us. Things like what triggers you, what makes you completely shut down, what makes you immediately jump to defend yourself, and what makes you feel unsafe. The absolute key instruction here, though, is to just gently notice these reactions. No judgment allowed, just curious observation. Which brings us to section 3, prayer and reflection, an invitation to healing. The source actually wraps up this section with a beautiful prayer. It says, "Lord, help me understand what is happening beneath my reactions. Show me the places where old wounds may still be speaking. Teach me to pause before I respond. Help me guard my heart with wisdom, not fear. Let my reactions become invitations to healing, not places of shame. Amen." The material then leaves us with one final, incredibly powerful reflection question. Which trigger do you want to understand better today? It's a lot to think about, right? Because by shining a light into these hidden places, instead of carrying shame about them, we take our first true steps toward real healing. Think on that. And thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.